Listeners, imagine standing on a mountain peak, the wind brushing against your face, the world sprawling beneath you. It's a moment of triumph, a testament to your hard work and perseverance. But as you stand there, you realize you're not alone, or you are alone. The journey to the top, filled with obstacles and victories, was one you had to trot alone. This is often the life of an entrepreneur, a journey of solitary determination and resilience. And being an entrepreneur myself, I can totally relate to it. And today we have with us an expert who is going to be helping us navigate the challenges and the journey of being an entrepreneur in a solitude and achieving the success. So, listeners, welcome to another episode of We Are Listening. I'm your host, Pulkit Garg, founder of Aanya Wellness. Today, we are honored to have with us Snehal Singh, a true powerhouse in the world of publishing, coaching, and entrepreneurial mindset. Snehal is the publisher and founder of Mindspirit Works Publishing, an alignment and business coach, an NLP trainer, a 12 times best-selling author, a writer's coach, a podcaster, and an international speaker. She hosts the podcast sponsored by Hindustan Times, and Snehal's mission is to sow the seed of abundance in the minds of people she connects with, inspiring them to live fully, authentically, and passionately. Welcome, Snehal.
Thank you. That was a beautiful introduction and a great start. Thank you, Pulkit.
It's my pleasure to host you today. And Snehal, before that's the way we follow on podcast, the structure is we would like to hear your journey, how you got here, what the milestones that you achieved in your journey before we dive into the questions and answers.
My journey has been long, but to sum it up in a beautiful way, I would say it began with working as a teacher, moving into corporate industry and working, as a call taking advisor for just a year or so, and then moving into training. And then which was nearly related to teaching. And I think since then until now, I am still doing the same thing, which is training and teaching and coaching. The journey is all about wanting to be better than what I have been doing and how I have been executing my work. So I started as a freelance trainer in 2011. That is where my entrepreneurial journey actually kick-started, because after working for nearly 12 years, I suddenly decided, no, I'm going to start doing everything all by myself. So that is where the actual freelancing work, looking for your own work and working for your own self, began.
Hmm.
And since then, over a period of time, moved into coaching and then started bringing in the blend of training, facilitating, coaching together, which helped me through the tools that I learned on the way, which whether it is neuro-linguistic programming, whether it is telepathic communication, or whether it is related to any other field related to alternate healing. And that brings me to into another world as well. So over a period of time, I realized it's not just one thing that I like doing. And I started opening up different avenues and options to earn revenue. So one of them was definitely writing books and, going ahead with that, then building other product line or things like that. So I like creating new things, learning new things, and taking them to a level of success, and moving it to autopilot, and then moving into learning again something new. So in a way, I would say I am a multi-potentialist who loves to explore, but not just by being a jack of all trades, but also mastering each one before I move to the next one. So yeah, that's in short about me.
And that's the way you ended it. That's the most important part, understanding and bringing in expertise to each and everything that we do. So, Snehal, help me understand now. I believe your overall entrepreneurial journey is more than 14 years, approximately, like from 2011, if
Yes.
you look at approximately 14 years at
Yes.
now. Were there any moments where you felt lonely, you felt alone, you're not able to understand how do I move out from here?
I would say a lot. I come from a background of absolutely no business, like whether it is my mom's side or dad's side, they always have generations who have always been employees, and
Mhm.
even so that government employees or military, background. So for me, no one was there to go for an advice. And the only thing I always got from people I knew is, we told you so. You should just just take up a job. It's easy. Entrepreneurship is not for everyone, and so on. So, does that happen to an entrepreneur most times? I would say yes. If you do not come from an entrepreneurial background, you may experience that until you figure out a way to have a tribe that understands you and you
Mm.
understand them. So, will you feel that way? The answer is yes. And even so, after having a tribe, at times, most important decisions we do take in solitude.
I
So,
totally agree. I can relate to where you're coming from. Same has been a journey for me. While like as a community, I belong to Banya community, which is known for business, but for my both maternal and paternal side, it has been where they were either in government jobs and similarly as mentioned that administrative services, teaching. So that's what. And this brings me to a very important point to understand. We are discussing about the mindset of an entrepreneur. Now, and it might go just true for me, not for many out others. But yeah, I would like to understand the people in our surroundings really, really impact our mindset and our evolutionary journey, I believe. And most importantly, the people in our inner circle, our parents, our siblings, who are the immediate inner circle we have. Now, coming, both of us, as you also shared, come from a background where the business mindset has not been there. Jobs have their own challenges. The solutions are accordingly shared for that. Businesses have their own challenges. Being a first initial entrepreneur, there are lot many things that you have to learn and evolve over alongside battling that constant why the starting a business, why you're starting a business, why don't can't you do a job? It's more safe, it's more secure. So how do you think, the family's mindset can help you become a better individual in your entrepreneurial journey? How much impact does it have?
so I learned at a very young age, and I think somewhere I give that credit to my father, that he always said that when you need advice on something, you need to take an advice from somebody who's done it. So, the feeling of feeling alone and not having somebody at home to answer is one part, but knowing that these are not the people to go for advice was also a part of it. So it did help me in certain way that at least I was not expecting them to respond or them to give me advices, because I knew ki they don't know what I'm talking about when it came to entrepreneurial decisions, risk taking, or diving into something that you absolutely have no idea about. That is not something that came naturally to the environment that I lived in. When I kickstarted my journey as a freelance trainer and so on, I always was with people who were settled, had jobs, and that environment felt very normal. And with time, I realized that if I want different results, I need to change those five average people that I spend highest time with. And that took me on an exploration journey of traveling self, being alone, or living out of home and having your own experiences and taking risks of choosing to be responsible for your own decisions in a way. So yes, I would say it's the first step of seven logical steps also of neurolinguistic programming very clearly say that the first base comes environment.
Okay.
So anything and everything starts with an environment. Even if we do visualization exercises, you see, we first say, feel that you're already in a garden, feel that you're already here. So first thing that we change is the environment. So anything that you want, you would want to first check what environment will this seed actually grow? Which in my environment will let my thought grow and manifest it into whatever it is that I want to achieve at the end. So environment does play an important role. And it's not that you genuinely have to step out of everything, like your people, your relatives, your friends. I learned it the hard way that we always can choose to step out for a while and come back. Okay, dedicate times, align and understand what your priorities are. And as long as you're aware why you're doing it becomes easy to even be a part of multiple environments. And that's how I have been able to thrive in multiple different work line that I've been doing. And they're different. They're apart from each other. There are some clients I know that this client would never be my client for another service that I actually offer. So I think environment does play an important role. And one should choose those basic five people that they're spending highest time with in terms of success.
I can relate to a lot of what you have just said. And that selective stepping out, what you mentioned about, that's something has worked wonders for me. So I've made my schedule, weekly schedule in a manner where I step out thrice or twice in a week to my office location or to my clients' offices, and then yeah, remaining time I'm working from home right now. So it has helped me get back that clarity of thoughts in my mindset. And I will just move on to a follow-up question on this. I have few other questions, but yeah, one follow-up question on this is, as you mentioned that these are not the people, while though we are really acknowledging the efforts they have put in, we are, appreciating the work, not the work, but yes, the way they have brought us up and the life they have given us. But they don't understand the challenges and milestones of an entrepreneurial journey often. And being oblivious to this whole world, often they fail to acknowledge or appreciate your achievements, your milestones out there. And often, as we are brought up in the Indian society, it's you owe it to your parents, you owe it to your siblings, your family out there, but they are not acknowledging what you have achieved. They're always like, what's the balance in your account? So,
Hmm.
and often I've heard it with my relatives as well, where they were like, "Galle mein kitna aa raha hai?" So, like usually the normal language in Indian, Banya community homes. So, how do you find a balance between this? Because if the people for whom, in a manner, you are living, you're living with them, you want to celebrate those achievements with them, but they don't understand the achievement at all. So, how do you find that balance over there?
I think that is a very favorable ground for sowing humility. They bring you back to reality. They, in a way, look at you for who they think you are, which is their
Mhm.
child, their loved one. Sometimes they do extend or go away by just saying, congratulations. I don't understand what you do, but congratulations. They do have that way of narrating, saying, I have no idea what you actually do. I don't know what this means to you. However, I think that effort matters.
Mhm.
Sometimes if you can just make peace with this is their world, okay, and their perception of the world is very limited according to them because they've chosen to be that way. And when
Yeah.
I understand that's how you look at the world, it becomes easy. Earlier it drove me crazy. It used to be like, how can you not know, like, how can you not know what your daughter does? How can you not understand that people know me, I'm great at this? And they're like, yeah, you must be, but at home you're just this person. Earlier it did hurt, but now I think it's a place for me which reminds me that I can just be myself, not carry my successes or failures into the room, and get to be just who I am at the core without being judged, without being questioned in a way. Now talking about the other aspect, which is the finance aspect, which we do get questioned. I'll be honest, I think it is just because of the way I am or whatever. I generally don't get people who'll ask me that question. I have always been very upfront in terms of my choices, and I think that's who I've always been. I've never done anything I don't like. Like you see, I started my first job as teaching, and no matter what, somewhere or the other, I'm still connected to the education industry or with uplifting human lives,
Mhm.
and I try. But I have, when it comes to work, when it comes to career, I don't think I've ever done anything that I don't like. Okay, of course, the side effects of every job is there. Like if you're training, also you need to create, do the administration stuff. That's something that I consider, but anything apart from that doesn't work. So the passion that I carry, I think, gives away whatever it gives away. It never has got me that question of, how much are you really making? I think that question only started coming in when I started comparison with, okay, if I have worked for so many years and if I've been doing so much, what have I really made? And when those questions start hitting me is when I think I chose to look at who I was and who I want to be. So most of the times the comparison has been with me, questions have been with me. Fortunately, in family, I don't get these people. Yes, of course, at work, I do get these people every other day. As a salesperson for your own business, you have to narrate what have you done and how much have you made and what difference have you created in this world? So I'm grateful. I never had parents who asked me this question. Though my father still says that you should get a job, and my mom still asks, "Don't you feel you should get a job? It'll be easier. You're working for lesser hours than you're actually working." That is still a comment even now, but fortunately, they have never asked. Even when I was working, they never asked me, what are you really making? How are you managing your finances? So it's good as well as, yeah.
Amazing. That's a very, beautiful way of looking at it, and, a very positive outlook. Moving forward, I would like to understand, like, as we move forward, we have to let go of a lot of our friends, uh, different reasons, and being very focused on the goal. At the end, in school we would have, let's say, if we had 50 friends. In college that comes down to, or increases, sometimes it just fluctuates. But yes, as you get into the corporate world, as you become more focused towards the growth of your own self, that number, boils down to just what, two or three people in your friend circle. And often in the entrepreneurial journey, you find yourself lonely at the top, because the challenges either a business person can only understand, or the job people don't have the time. Your friends who are in a job, they would, again, they are finding their own challenge. They're working 9 to 9. For
True.
them, working hours is a challenge. While being an entrepreneur, we do have the luxury of choosing our own holidays and our own break times. But yes, then we are accountable to our clients, if not a manager, to our clients, and we have to manage things. So how can, an entrepreneur really look at managing that loneliness? In starting, it was very difficult for you, and eventually you have been able to overcome that. So if you can just, shed some light on that.
I would say it's okay to be alone, but if you're lonely, then it is an alarm. Because when you're doing certain things alone, when you need somebody and they're not available, you're still working on yourself in a way. But when you yourself are feeling lonely, then even if you have people around, you will still feel lonely. Okay.
Mhm, mhm,
Now, talking about being alone, I think over a period of time, I have started to realize that it's a myth that the journey to success is a lonely road. Okay. Because it comes down to what your priorities are. See, when we are not being taught, now I don't know how if I should say this, but I'll just go ahead and say this. I think as Indians, we are very workaholics. We love working for work, and we have been taught and trained to work, work, work. Okay. So as long as everything is working fine, we actually do not care if we have the friends, we are getting that time to break out or not. Okay. Even in our college days, very few people actually had like crazy fun. Most of them were busy studying, studying, studying for the work, work, work they wanted. And we don't have that within us unless something really hits us bad. So I would say to each one, take a quick check. How many people do you have as go-to? And even if you have one person for a 3 a.m. call, you're in a good space. If you can call somebody at 3 a.m., you're in a good space. Is the road lonely? Not really. We can bring in balance by first prioritizing with everything our fun time as well.
mhm.
Being a coach, Pulkit, I can tell you every time I ask people, can you write down your 10 goals? They've written everything. Can you imagine two important things that they never write down? They've written down finance, they've written down relationships, but relationships about, fixing the relationships that they already have. They've written about their career paths. Most often, they either forget or the last part is fun and recreation and health. Okay, that is how we are not being aware of our own lives. So when we start putting even fun and recreation as a requirement in our life, you'll always have people who will be there for you, and you will also get an opportunity to be there for people. So it needs to be scheduled at the beginning until it becomes a part of your life. We have not been taught and trained to do that. We've not had playdates as compulsory thing in our schools, which I see a lot in Western cultures. Playdates was compulsory. Spending time with friends was compulsory in a way. They made sure that you're getting friends and you're talking and you're building your environment and so on. So I would say start scheduling your fun and recreation. Include your health as an important part of it, because when you choose to be healthy, you'll always be in different companies who want to be healthy. Because if you join yoga, there's going to be a yoga group. You join a gym, you'll have your gym friends. So you'll find people who are
Yeah.
looking for similar things. But looking for networking and wealth, while it's a great game, everyone knows they're in there for wealth. So it may or may not build that great a connection. So
Mhm.
yes, you need to schedule your fun and recreation before it actually becomes a part of your life.
I totally agree. I totally agree on this, Nehal. As an entrepreneur, I often, if I'm taking a break on a Sunday, I feel a guilt trip that I'm not working. And same has been the case I've heard with umpteen number of entrepreneurs that we meet during a lot of startup meetups that keep happening in the city and around. That guilt trip, and yes, we are trained to be totally workaholics. We don't know how to have fun. We don't know how to enjoy the small things out there. And that's something that needs to change. I believe that's something we need to evolve on. And
Important because I notice a discomfort that even a client shows when I say I'm not available on a Saturday and a Sunday, and I'm like, I need my time. You have to
yeah,
understand. Okay. It is not a norm anymore. And somewhere COVID has had this side effect for both people who have jobs as well as people like us, people expecting there is no difference between day and night. We have forgotten what day or time it is unless it's an important day. It means we're losing track of things when we're supposed to be aware of things. So I think we as entrepreneurs also, while I know that entrepreneur has to work every day of a week that ends with a Y, Sundays can be excluded. Saturday half days can be excluded, and you can choose to say no. And I think that builds a very professional atmosphere as well to a greater extent. So yeah.
in your opinion, what is the most critical mindset shift an aspiring entrepreneur needs to make?
If you are choosing to be an entrepreneur because you want to be the king of your time, or you think that no one will order me and therefore I should do, I think that's the biggest shift. Because when you choose to be an entrepreneur, until you actually establish yourself, you're everything. You're right from the sales guy to the peon for your own self to everything. You're managing the bills, you being the account department, everything. So one important thing to know is be in entrepreneurship only if you have something bigger than yourself to serve as a purpose. If you don't have that, then we see many businesses crash within the first 18 months to 2 years. And that is because they don't have anything to hang on to, that goal, that vision, that, okay, I want to bring, and it has to be bigger than you. it
Yeah,
it has to be bigger than you. It has to be outside of you, something where you want to solve something for someone, give comfort to somebody else, be of service. So while entrepreneurship seems a lot about being the ruler in a way, or empire, or being the king or the queen, it actually is about the servitude. It's about serving and knowing what service is all about, and that you learn in the first 6 months of choosing to be an entrepreneur. Okay. So yes, I would say if you want to do this, then just know that you're in there for a service.
amazing, amazing. I remember my first day when I got my visiting cards printed, and that card sort of had, Pulkit Garg MD. Like, I've just, did 1 year of my corporate life, and from a graduate trainee, I'm directly writing MD. That was a very mixed bag of emotions. I had like sort of butterflies in my stomach for complete a week. Like, I could not just digest that in that I have sort of become an MD of my own, startup. I'm going to be taking those decisions. And I totally agree with you. Like, one instance, what happened with us was we had our office in Gurgaon, and Anya Wellness, we have, and I'm not sure if a lot of people know this. I'm not going to say sharing this for the first time on a public platform. So Tanaz is our chief communication officer in Anya Wellness. Nazrani, she's a Bollywood actress. She was at our office in Gurgaon, and by chance, the maid didn't come that day. The help didn't come that day. So I reached the office for in the morning. I had to, wipe the whole office, get the whole thing cleaned up, dusting and everything. And now we have Tanaz in the office sitting with the team, and we have to serve her snacks and tea, and the dishes are to be done. So the team is sitting with the Tanaz inside, and I'm doing dishes outside in the kitchen, and then cleaning everything, getting back in the proper, clothing and everything, and then serving the food. So I totally agree with you. You have to be the peon, you have to be the cleaner, you have to be the MD at the same
And
time.
this courage of doing this, okay, knowing that everybody is in there, but I got to do this and forget who I am as a position, that comes only when you know your why. Why am I doing this? Okay, why does my institute, my goal exist? If that is clear, you're capable of being as flexible as possible. But if that is not clear, then there is definitely a challenge that does walk into the room, which starts with EGO, but then the journey is different altogether. But yes, the why is therefore very important.
I totally agree. The journey has been filled with ups and downs, but yes, it's been nearly 10 years for me being into the full-time entrepreneurship position. And often a lot of people in the circle, because they have tried their hands, some have failed, some have succeeded, and they ask, Pulkit, what keeps you going? So I guess the answer somewhere, is hidden in that, what you just said.